To find your best self, you must love your old self. As we grow up, we form this ideal life situation. The life you would live if everything went right, if there were no negative experiences, if you got the job, went to the school, and everything just had panned out perfectly. And it's so easy to look at this life situation, the one we would live if we were fully motivated, if we had all the opportunities, if we had every chance and it all just came to us, if we got lucky, and tell ourselves it's not possible. Tell ourselves that this old version of ourselves, this version that's weak, this version that doesn't win, this version that has all these excuses and these experiences that justify not being good enough, is who we are. And in any scenario that we want to become the better version of ourselves or change our life, we are burdened by this older version of ourselves. It is something that pulls us down and makes it hard for us to become better. It makes us disinterested. It makes us lose the motivation to go towards our goals. It makes us sabotage ourselves. It makes it hard for us to do anything better than how we've always done it. And until we're able to love this old self, until you're able to stop resisting and able to accept it, we will continue living the same life that they've lived and completing the same loop. Until we accept it, we will resist it. Now, why is it that resisting the old self doesn't work? Resisting the version of ourselves that we don't like, the version of ourselves who's always lost, the version of ourselves who's not good enough, the version of ourselves who ultimately hasn't contributed much towards becoming what we want to be. It's easy to get lost in the idea that if we could just remove that part of ourselves, we would be something better. That if we could get rid of that part of ourselves, the version who doesn't do the habits, who doesn't stay motivated, who loses interests and just does things that don't contribute, we could be something better. But the longer we resist that, the more we identify with it. Subconsciously, the more we tell ourselves we need to remove that as a part of us, the more we identify with it. And the more we focus on the fact that that is who we are, the more we believe it to be true. For example, if the old version of yourself you label as a loser, you still believe yourself to be a loser. If you are trying to remove the loser in you, you're still identifying with the loser in you. And so, when you tell yourself to become this ideal life situation, I need to be a winner, it's impossible. Because even if you began winning, nothing externally is going to change what you believe about yourself internally. And so until you choose to identify with the winner version of you, you will identify with the loser version of you. So, no matter how many wins you get, no matter how much progress you make, you're still focused on the fact that you're losing. And so, until we change where we're placing our focus and the person we believe ourselves to be, we will not change the experiences that we have and what we place our focus on. This is why resisting doesn't work. The more you resist, it persists. The more you resist, the more you place your focus and lower your energy towards that version of yourself. If I'm focused on the fact that I used to be a loser, I've lost my entire life, I have this trauma or whatever I want to bring up evidence-wise for why I am that way or why I'm not good enough, the more I'm placing my focus on that. And if we understand that where focus goes, energy flows, where's my energy going to be at? Well, I'm obviously not going to be motivated. I might be stuck in apathy. I might be stuck in guilt or shame about my past and the person I've been. And so I tell myself, if I could just remove this version of myself, if I could just find a way to get rid of them, if I could find a way to shove it down so that I could change the way I act, change the way I think, change the way I feel, I might have a better chance. But it doesn't work like that. The more you push it down, the harder it wants to spring up. The more you resist it, the more it will continue coming back. So how do we stop resisting it? How can we live with the old version of ourselves, live with the past events, and not feel disdain towards them, not feel like it's something we need to push away? Because if we continue focusing on the past and all these events, there's nothing we can really do. Because until we're focused on the present moment, we can't change anything that's going to happen in the future. We need to recognize that nothing that's happened in the past and nothing that happened in the future has happened in the past or the future. Realistically, they don't exist. The only thing that has ever existed is right now, the moment you're living right here and now, this second. And so we need to stop focusing on the past. We need to stop getting caught up in these feelings and using it as an excuse for why the future can't be the same. The past does not determine who you are or who you will be. It is your experience, it is your perception of what has happened in the past that determines it. And so we need to change our perception. We need to change our perception, which has been resistance. The way we go through resistance, and this works in any moment. If you're having resistance in the present moment, highly recommend using this, is to accept. Because we cannot resist what we have accepted. When we accept that the past is the past, and are able to move through it and focus on the present moment, we're no longer caught up in it. We're able to find reasons to appreciate the past so that we can create a better present moment. Outside of the present moment, there are no problems. Outside of the present moment, there are problems, but inside the present moment, there are no problems. Problems are only created when we're looking towards the future or looking at the past. Right here and now, there are no problems. The problems are only future problems, future things you could imagine, or past problems, things you wish you could change, things you're guilty for, ashamed of. And so as present as we can say, the less problems we create. And so the process we go through is one, accepting that what has happened has happened. There's nothing we can change about it. The past was the past. The only thing you can do is do something now. But if you're caught up in the past, how are we ever going to do something right now? How are we ever going to create if we're so absorbed by trying to survive or trying to rationalize why things happened or how it's affecting us now or what's going to happen? Again, creating more problems. And so we accept what is. Then we find the blessing in disguise. Where is the blessing in the past? What have we learned? What has helped us become the better version of ourselves so that we can grow? The longer we're looking at the past and finding the evidence for why we aren't good enough or why we haven't done what we needed to do, the longer we're going to subscribe to that story. When we start finding the blessing, we subscribe to the new story, the story that we are good enough, that we can change, that we can become a better version of ourselves. And so let's look at an example of that. Say, for example, you try to start a business and it failed. You tell yourself you're a loser. The future version of you is a winner, but you subscribe to the fact that you lost. You lost in business. You didn't succeed. You didn't make the money. Maybe you're still losing. And so, how can I believe myself to be a winner? Well, I can accept the fact that what has happened, right? I maybe didn't do the best in business. I maybe didn't do as good as I thought I would do. That's okay. It had to happen. It had to happen because what is the blessing in disguise here? Well, the blessing is I learned new skills. I learned what doesn't work and what does work. I now have a better idea for what I'm going to do next to succeed. Awesome. Then the third step after we've accepted, found the blessing in disguise, is redirect. How am I going to redirect that focus on the past to focus on the present? Focus on what I can do here now to create. Well, I may start a new business. I may create a new way or a new plan for myself to succeed. I'm going to take those lessons I learned, use them to be a winner now. What do I describe as a winner now? A winner is someone who takes action. A winner is someone who takes responsibility for what they have control over and then continues moving forward. And so what am I doing? I'm acting like a winner now. And so I am a winner. See how we can, by accepting and finding the blessing, remove this identification with the old self. And this can be done for anything. We don't need to be insecure and continue comparing ourselves to everybody else and then base ourselves based off that. Your self-worth is not based on anybody else. It is based on what you decide. It is based off what you choose to be. And so the only version we should be comparing ourselves to, the only person, is the version of ourselves we want to be. Well, if I want to be that future version of myself, what is he doing and how can I act more like him now? Well, if he's a winner, what does a winner do? And then we do those things. This is how we end that loop of resistance. This is how we end that loop of looking at the past and wishing we could change. Again, this looks different for everybody. We've all suffered in different ways. We've all experienced pain, but that doesn't mean it's not a universal experience. And so when looking at that, we understand that it happens to everybody. It's a loop that continues happening. But the way we break the loop is by accepting, finding the blessing, and redirecting. What has happened. How can I be grateful for it? And now where can I place my focus to raise my energy? When my focus is on the fact that I'm acting like a winner now, that I'm proud of myself for the things I did today, I'm raising my energy. I'm not stuck in those lower vibrations of the old self, of the person I feel like I've been repeating my entire life. No, I've accepted them for who they are. I love the fact that I've, maybe always not done the best. Maybe I had to go through certain negative experiences to become a better version of myself today. And so the more I recognize how those experiences have created a better version of me, whether I would want to repeat them again, Just because you've experienced things that you feel have caused trauma or caused negative traits in your life, that does not mean you have to continue living with them. Again, the past does not define you. It is your perception of what the past means to you. And so the longer you subscribe to the fact that versions and experiences in the past have now been represented in the version of you today, they will continue to repeat themselves. Because until you change your perception and the meaning you define of that past moment, the longer it's going to stick with you. Until we make that change, the version of that old self will continue living on. And so, love the old self. Be grateful for it. Accept it for what it is, so that we can become the best self, so that we can become the ideal version of ourselves who lives the life we want to live. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know you have it in you. All you need to do is continue working, accepting, loving, and you will get where you want to go. If you want to learn lessons on how to become the best version of yourself and the step-by-step guide that I use to scale my business up, I'm going to pop a video up right here. Hopefully you can see that, so that you can go ahead and watch my completely free course on the step-by-step guide to laying out our goals, laying out the habits we're going to hit, and the step-by-step way we can use mindset to reach those goals with ease. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. If you did enjoy, please do make sure to subscribe. I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. God bless.